Good afternoon. I'd like to call the Warren County Commissioners meeting of July 28th to order. Would everyone please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance and immediately following a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This meeting is being recorded, and anything said in the meeting will become part of public record. Since the last time the Board of Commissioners met, we've had one executive session, and that was our regularly scheduled Monday on July 19th with the solicitor to discuss open legal matters. There's no correspondence I'm aware of to bring before the public. At this time, I'd ask if there's any public comment. Hearing none. On the agenda today, we have the needs-based budget for CYS, the CWIS agreement, a resolution for tax claim bureau fee schedule, award of the bike hike trail project, and then the driver use policies. We will strike the image information policy due to an error on my part. Fiscal report.
On Monday we had $1,560,912, and we have borrowed $2 million from the TAN, same amount as the previous year, but we have actually borrowed $500,000 from the savings account. The American Rescue funds haven't moved, and we have the DRAP funding from the last meeting, and we now have our pooled cash report corrected and ready to share at the next commissioners.
Great, thank you. Any questions? Hearing none, are there any amendments to the minutes? Hearing none, two proclamations on the agenda today. Start with the Relay for Life. Commissioner Eggleston asked you to do the Stevens-Johnson syndrome. Whereas Relay for Life is a life-changing event sponsored by the American Cancer Society that helps communities across the globe celebrate the lives of people who have battled cancer, remember loved ones lost, and fight back against the disease. Whereas one person can make a difference, which was evident in the story that began in Tacoma, Washington, in the mid-1980s with Dr. Gordy Klatt, a Tacoma colorectal surgeon who wanted to enhance the income of his local American Cancer Society office and show support for all his patients who had battled cancer. Dr. Klatt decided to personally raise money for the fight by doing something he enjoyed, running marathons. Whereas through Dr. Klatt's efforts, during which he ran for 24 hours and raised $27,000 to fight cancer that first year, his vision has become a national event, providing the opportunity for thousands of communities to come together to plan team relay events and other fundraising activities, which are instrumental in helping the American Cancer Society save more lives and create more birthdays by helping more people stay well and get well. Now, therefore, be it resolved that we, the Commissioners of Warren County, proclaim the 30th day of July 2021 as Purple Out Day for Relay for Life in Warren County, and be it further resolved that we, the Commissioners of Warren County, hereby proclaim August 7th, 2021 to be Relay for Life Day in Warren County. And be it further resolved that all public officials, employees, and all citizens of Warren County are asked to show our support by wearing purple clothing and or accessories on Purple Out Day, and by adorning purple bows and ribbons on buildings and cars in an effort to promote the mindset of thinking survivor and to support our fellow community members. Wear it proud and loud. Adopted this day. Any questions or comments? Hearing none. Commissioner Eggleston.
Stevens-Johnson Syndrome SJS Awareness Month. Whereas Stevens-Johnson Syndrome is a life-threatening skin condition in which the loss of skin cells triggers the epidermis to separate from the dermis. The majority of diagnoses are idiopathic and have no known cause. The principal source of SJS is linked to the adverse effects of certain medications, which can cause ulcers and lesions in the mucous membranes, conjunctivitis, blindness, organ failure, and death. And in the United States, 300 new cases of SJS appear every year. Adult women are twice as likely as men to contract the disease. SJS can be caused by viral infections, malignancies, and allergic reactions to certain over-the-counter drugs. However, recent trends show antibiotics and sulfa drugs appear to be the leading cause in new cases. It is important to be aware of and research the causes of Stevens-Johnson syndrome because the dermatological disease can often be misdiagnosed as a more common, less fatal skin infection. Now, therefore, we, the Warren County Commissioners, do hereby proclaim the month of August as Stevens-Johnson Syndrome Awareness Month in Warren County, Pennsylvania. Adopted this day of July.
Thank you. Any comment? Hearing none, I move to approve the agenda, the minutes, the finance report, and the proclamations. Do we hear a second?
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded. Discussion. Hearing none. All those in favor, please state aye. Aye. Motion carries. No old business on the agenda. New business. Turn it over to Meredith Ketchum to describe the CYS narrative for needs-based budgeting. And why don't you go ahead and sit the CWIS agreement while you're at it.
Okay, the needs-based budget is, the narrative for the needs-based budget is the narrative of the money that we spent last year and what we're planning on spending this year. We had some highlights from last year. We had 5 youth who graduated from high school. We had 1 who actually went to college. So we're pretty excited about that. We had a decline of 33% in our placements from last year to this year, which we saw as a success as well. Unfortunately, we did see a 17% increase in the number of substance use cases across the board and a huge 200% increase in truancy, but part of that we're attributing to there was a change in the law, and now 5-year-olds to 18-year-olds are supposed to be enrolled in school, which was a switch from 8 to 17, and we think that adjustment from last year caused an increase in some of our truants, as well as the school having some virtual and cyber and the issues that went along with COVID. So we're hoping that this school year will be different. We're going to track it to see if it's going to be necessary to put another service in 22-23. But for the most part, we're going to keep the same initiatives that we had. George Junior started in 2020. It did real well. We prevented a lot of placements from happening with that program. So juvenile probation and CYS are very happy with that. And then we've partnered up with Beacon Light to start tracking services offered through the mental health portion of the county to see if there's any missing or any barriers to what is being served there, to see if we have to bring in any cases. And then the CWIS agreement is our Child Welfare Information Services Agreement. We're getting a new computer program in 2023. So this should be the second to the last time that we have this agreement. This is a data source agreement that is an agreement between the county and the state for the information that we input into that data system.
Very good. Very standard. Any questions? Hearing none. I move to approve the CYS narrative and CWIS agreements.
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded. Discussion. Hearing none, you heard the motion. All those in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Resolution 3,185, as presented to us by the Tax Claim Bureau, is to update the fee schedule as discussed in our Monday work session. Mr. Gilbert, did you have anything you wanted to add?
Nope, so the only thing we're changing the fee schedule is just the $15 fee for the registration process, which will help pay for the paper and the bid cards and all that sort of stuff.
Very good. Any questions? Hearing none, we move to approve resolution 3185. Take a second. Second. Motion made and seconded. Discussion. All those in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next, the bike hike trail repair. We opened bids, one bid at the work session on Monday. The only bid for this project was IA Construction, having consulted with the engineering firm and the Planning and Zoning Office. The recommendation from the office was to accept the bid. Boiler replacement. The grand total being $90,992.05. Again, there were no other bids, and after reconsulting, it looks like that is a reasonable price, and we found a grant for at least $6,000 that would help cover the difference. And we have the funds in Act 13. Any questions?
No, I'm glad that we got a usable bid. I know that the bike trail needs the maintenance. aside from the calls that we get, I travel bike trail on a regular basis, and there's the sections that really need to be worked on. I think everybody will be very happy once that's done. So glad we got at least a good bid from a good company that I think will do a good job.
This is on Market Street.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, all the way up to south of the mall.
Yeah.
So there's just several sections where the ripples have gotten to the point, especially with like a lot of the water and the flooding and stuff that we
Sure.
had. All of that continues to exacerbate that. So good stuff.
All right,
I'll make a motion to approve it.
second discussion. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Motion carries. Next, we have one policy for approval, one sub-policy, and then a form. These are related to the vehicle use policy. Made a few revisions since the last version that was in your packet. Minor things. So this policy is completely updating a former policy that I believe was from 2003 related to use of vehicles. It defines all users of county vehicles and/or employees that are using personal vehicles for purposes of the county government. And it lists some responsibilities related, new responsibilities related to the risk administrator. It authorizes us to do essentially background checks on everyone that drives a county vehicle. It identifies fringe benefit definitions that were out of date in the IRS. It forces the employees to use the vehicle use mileage logs, which we have been requesting, I suppose, strongly for years, but did not have complete compliance on. Policies are, in my opinion, very reasonable. It says you have to have a driver's license. If you're operating a personally owned vehicle for county business, it must have insurance and registration. That all relevant laws such as speed limits, seatbelt use, cell phone use, etc., must comply with state law. It adds language that any accidents or damages involving a county vehicle must be reported to HR within 12 hours. Sometimes it's been upwards of a week before we've gotten reports. It also says that any citations, such as DUIs, must be reported to HR immediately, and that while use of county vehicle, if you get a ticket, that must be reported as well to be added to your employee file. It also has some kind of housekeeping issues, such as no tobacco or vaping use while in county vehicles. It formalizes our informal policy that says we must use a county vehicle when possible. It actually lightens up a little bit on the former policy regarding de minimis use. We had some instances where people were discouraged from going through like the McDonald's parking lot or McDonald's drive over, line in order to get lunch. I think that was previously disallowed, but we're allowing de minimis use based on IRS guidance for that, etc. I think it's all very reasonable. Have any questions? All right. And then the sub-policy has to do with the defensive driving class. The only changes that were made to that since the version you saw on Monday was the mistaken clause about indigent cremation was removed. That was a leftover from another document. But that means
if you're driving, you might have to deal with that. Right?
Hope not.
When I saw that, I was like,
yeah, good catch.
I don't know about that. Are you okay if I just make a motion to approve all of them?
Please.
Make a motion to approve all of them.
That would be System Policy 9, county policy and sub-county policy 1, along with any forms that the chief clerk deems necessary in order to effectuate the policies. Any questions about that? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you very much, Pam and Doug, for your fine work on the getting our first specific policy actually approved through the process. I think this was well done all the way around. All right, I think that is it. Any commissioner comments?
I don't think so.
All right, one quick announcement. We're now going to have our next work session at the fair, correct?
Yes.
It was scheduled to be in person here at the courthouse, but due to a request for media presence and just a general desire on behalf of the commissioners in order to have one of our meetings at the fair that's accessible to people, we decided to have it Monday at 12 or 12:30?
12:30.
12:30 at the fair at the
That's Fort Williams.
Fort Williams Pavilion. Very good. I think that's it for our announcements.
I think that's definitely going to affect my diet.
With that,
Are the commissioners going to be judges of different events now?
I don't think.
Well, voluntarily.
I will volunteer all ice cream.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
We'll judge it all.
Yeah.
All right, I move to adjourn.
I'll second.
We're adjourned.
Voila.